Hello and welcome to episode 21 of The Content Show, and today we're asking the question, what makes a great case study? Is it something unexpected? Is it some cool editing? Is it honesty, drama, a laugh, a big budget maybe? So we're going to look at 3 really great case studies from 2020 and tear them apart.
I have a prosthetic foot. It allows me to be very active.
This is Rakuten. These are Cisco executives invited to a meeting with Rakuten.
The first woman and the next man on the moon.
He said on time, I think.
This time we want to stay on the moon.
But first I'm going to introduce the Brains Trust, David Austin and Arthur Metziano. Hello guys, welcome back.
Hi Simon. Hi Arthur, how's everybody?
All good, all good.
David, what do you think makes a great case study?
Well, you have to find a good story to tell. The most important thing you need is to actually have a very good challenge to overcome. That's one thing that all 3 of these picks that we're showing today have. They all chose really interesting use cases where the people involved, the partners, all had something that was really difficult, and they were all able to overcome it using their various technologies and products and services.
Yeah, a bit of drama. One of the hardest things about a case study is it often wants to be a story about a successful company, and there's no drama, there's no story arc in watching successful people be successful.
Right. Yeah, you need to have the risk of failure.
That's
or
right.
at least the illusion of the risk of failure.
Yes, right.
But I think also, besides all the factors that you, Simon, mentioned, and definitely the challenge, I guess we need to remember that at the end of the day, this is branded content. So it still has to clearly communicate a business value proposition. So I guess for me, what makes the great case study is this tricky balance between communicating value proposition and really showing how it solved the problem, but also not being too focused on that's us, that's our products. There is actually a story, and customer is at the center of it.
So first, let's look at the first one, which is Rakuten and Cisco, and I'll just start playing it here in the background. We don't have any audio on this one, but you'll see the thing. I think what I like about this, firstly, is Cisco doing some amazingly cool case studies, and you just see this from the way it's edited and the graphics and the style here. It's a very difficult thing. What I think about this one is they make it a conversation. It's partly dramatized using this great editing. It has this social currency, so they're using a lot of current sort of YouTube styles, big graphics, unexpected shots. So it's got that sort of interesting, fresh visuals. It's very uncorporate.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of films like The Big Short, which also try to take a complicated idea and dramatize it. I thought the really interesting thing is that they must have spent a lot of time getting the buy-in from Cisco and Rakuten, because I know a lot of corporate people would not be comfortable kind of dramatizing their own life like this and actually doing scripted things like what we're seeing right there. It works, but I bet there was quite a bit of resistance, or at least I would assume there's a lot of resistance of being actors in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this sort of cinematic fast-paced editing definitely makes a huge difference versus the usual kind of talking head type of case studies that most of the brands produce. Clearly, this is also one of the cases where big budgets will have to be spent, because all of these little things, all of these little details that add to the creative quality, they're all part of the pre-production, and all of these extra resources, ideating these things, planning these things, be it shots, be it some stock footages, graphics, these all extra details that add up really quickly.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that shines through all of these case studies actually is a real commitment to redefining the case study and not making it sort of the also-ran, the hygiene content, but making it the hero content. I'm just going to load up the next one, which is from Siemens. Here we go. So that's there, and I'll start playing this one. There we go. So this one is more of a classic doco style case study. It's a piece of realism, a beautifully told story. I think the dominant characteristics here are the emotion of the story. It's really from the heart, and it's first person and it's emotional.
Mhm. Yeah, really simple and straightforward. It's really because the actual case study they're highlighting is interesting in and of itself. They didn't really do much to elaborate it, except having like some scenes like this, reenacting when he got to try it out.
I had two takeaways from this. One is that Siemens are clearly a great place to work. That you get to work on these fun types of projects, but also obviously the ingenuity, and it's an engineering company. So I think that, to your point earlier, Arthur, the brand takeaways here are very strong.
And yes, it's clearly on the other side of the spectrum in terms of production values and budgets. It was probably like 1-2 day shoots and less fancy editing, just color grading, but just the human angle, the personal human story that drives the whole narrative. And essentially, it's just maybe 15 seconds out of the whole 1 minute where they mention that thanks to Siemens digital technology, we managed to basically plan it, model it, and produce it. It's a challenge, but hopefully that goal was fulfilled here.
Excellent. So finally, our third best of 2020 video is from Google Cloud. And I think this is, it's an interesting story. The elements I like is that it has this association with NASA and space travel. So it has huge social currency and public attention. It's the sort of story that's really just going to sell itself because people are really interested in the moon and space travel at the moment. So I'll just set it playing. But the first thing is, look at this location for the first shot. I was thinking that's either the coolest office in the world or they built a set for it.
Right. Now, I would really like to know, because I thought, surely this is not just some office sitting around, but if it is, then that is the coolest place to work. But yeah, this story, it has instant and undeniable production value. When you're talking about going to the moon, you can't really get much higher production value than that. And then, of course, they add to it with these amazing CGI scenes that help envision what it is they're working on. It's like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, there's clearly some elaborate green screen, and obviously somebody had to get dressed up in a spacesuit, which would have been fun.
And I think for the first minute, we just reached the stage where the guy basically talks about what actually Google Cloud was helping out with. The first one is talking about his dream, about all the big challenges that we're working on. Of course, this is kind of the literal moonshot, right? That the moonshot idea that they're working inside Google. But then again, like in a very crisp manner, they say that, yeah, we just needed a huge amount of data to be processed, and Google Cloud with its machine learning capabilities basically helped us to process all this data and help us to define what are the spots on the moon.
Getting that association, though, with some of humanity's biggest things really helps with this one. So to me, there's the three things that stand out of these three case studies. There's been a real effort to take a tried and true but tired format, let's be honest, the case study, and reboot it. But the challenge is that many clients see the case study as a piece of hygiene content. It's a fairly low budget, bread and butter, whereas these turn that idea on its head and really make it a piece of showcase content.
All three of them work because of this balance. They clearly communicate the value, but they don't really pull it to that side. We still mainly focus on these heroes, be it on the a bit more low-budget docu-style personal story of this veteran with a prosthetic leg, or kind of more higher production, incredible, impossible challenge of those 5G networks.
And in fact, you can use these three case studies as a case study for why you should put more effort and make your case studies hero stories instead of just hygiene, bread and butter, regular type of. That's true.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This is episode 21 of The Content Show. You can hit subscribe below. Hit the bell if you want to be notified about our videos as they come up, and give us a thumbs up if you can. And thanks for watching. Thanks, David and Arthur.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.